So this is our biggest table we built to date. And in this video, I'm going to show you our journey of how we got to this point and going into detail on how we built it, show you our techniques and methods so you can build the best table yourself. Let's go.
So this specific slab we got in stock. We bought this slab from a town called Tzaneen. It's about 4.5 hours drives from where I stay in Pretoria. And we bought this specific slab in early this year at May 2021, and it stood in the kiln oven for about 4 months, and we had it in stock for about 2 months before we got the right client for this big table. So we're going to start off. If you guys are following me right from the beginning, you would know that we are not in favor of sealing our live edges, and there's a number of reasons we don't do it. But for this specific table, our client wants a high gloss see-through finish, and that's why we seal our edges. And I just want to give you advice: if you guys are going this route, make sure you take a steel brush once your epoxy is dry, and you can just scuff up all your epoxy you sealed your edges with. Moving to the next step, I actually made a video on how to calculate epoxy. I am going to leave a link now if you want to go and check it out. I'm explaining every single thing, going into detail, everything you need to know on how to calculate epoxy. Just as any other epoxy project, this is the absolute most fun part of your project, is where you pour your epoxy. And if you guys know me, we unfortunately can't afford deep casting epoxy. That's why we buy epoxy that we need to cast in layers. And that's also a question we get a lot from our supporters and our fans on social media. And they continuously ask us why we don't pour one go. Answer is simple: deep casting epoxy is just too expensive, and to push our tables up and make it more expensive, and then it's just going to be harder to sell them, and we can't be competitive with our competitors out there, if it makes any sense. And as you can see, I'm standing in my flops and my jogging pants. This is because this was around about 9 o'clock at night when it was a little bit cooler, because in South Africa now it's really hot during the day, and to cast epoxy during a hot day is not a good idea. So this is the part where I actually skipped a few parts. Once your epoxy is dry, you need to put your table on a CNC machine to make it flat on top and at the bottom. So this part we obviously didn't record, so the table is back in our shop, and you can see I'm starting straight away with my Festool Rotex machine, getting all the CNC marks off. And the Rotex is the perfect tool to remove your CNC marks.
So getting our slab back from the CNC supplier, it took us a total of 10 people transporting the table to the CNC supplier, transporting it back. So yes, I estimate this table is around about half a ton, 500 kilograms. Yes, it's a beast. But anyway, getting it back from our CNC supplier, we put our Festool Rotex machine with the 80 grit to remove all the lines the CNC machine made. So basically what I'm going to do now is, this is the bottom side of the table. Now there's obviously a lot of small imperfections, cracks and holes we need to fill. Now how we done it before is we would typically use the same color epoxy, and we would only fill the crack, meaning that 50% of the time when you're going to sand that little bit of epoxy away, the epoxy leaves a small stain on the wood. Now what we've done after that is we would use clear epoxy. Now that worked, but it wasn't perfect. So our new method, and I actually made a video recently on it, going into much more detail on this specific topic. I'll leave a link now if you want to go and check it out. But the way we do it now is we would cover our complete surface with epoxy. It basically means that we stain the whole wood on the underside and on the top side, and then obviously when it's dry we will come and sand it down. But as we cover the complete surface with epoxy, at the same time we cover all the small cracks and all the small imperfections and holes. So that's the method we recently use, and it's been working perfectly for us.
So after applying your epoxy over your complete surface, I waited about a day and a half for that epoxy to set, and then using my Rotex machine again, on the Rotex setting, you removing all the epoxy from your table, and then we're going to start the sanding process from here. And as I mentioned before in a lot of our previous videos, if you're going to build a table, always make sure you build your mold slightly bigger, so when you make a mistake there is room for error. So we build all our tables slightly bigger, and then we just cut it to its final size once we are busy with the sanding process. And this method is a guaranteed that your table will finish on the exact dimensions you gave your client. So just giving my table a 45-degree chamfer right around on top and at the bottom, and we would normally sand to around about 320 grit before we continue sanding. Then from 320 grit we will router our table, and then we will continue sanding from there on forward.
So how do we get a high gloss see-through finish on all our tables? I actually made a video specifically on this table where I'm going into intense detail on the methods and the techniques we take in getting a high gloss see-through finish on all our tables. This video is going to be launched next week. But in a nutshell, you basically sand your table from 80 grit all the way to 1500 grit. Then we've got the Festool polish system. They got 3 different polishes with 3 different polish pads, and that's basically the method we take in getting a high gloss see-through finish on all our tables. We're going to start off with the orange pad, which is a medium sponge pad with the orange polish compound. Then we're going to move to the medium to fine sponge pad with the blue polish compound. Then the last step in polishing our table, we're going to move to the white sponge pad, which is a very fine pad with the final polish compound. This system is specifically designed in getting a super high gloss finish on all your tables.
So the video I made on how to get a high gloss finish and the techniques and methods we are using, I made a video, like I said, that's going to be launched next week, where I'm going into detail, like intense detail, on every single step you need to take to get a mirror type finish on all your tables. So make sure you like this video, subscribe to our channel, and hit the ring bell button so you don't miss out.
And that's how you polish a table. Now the last thing that's left is to oil our table, and we will use Otis oil, super duper, and after super duper we will use the standard Otis oil. So before I show you the final product, make sure you support us by liking this video, subscribing to our channel. That's honestly just helping us to produce more content. Also make sure you follow me on our social media platforms, Facebook and Instagram. We are also currently busy with our website, and most important, I'm currently busy with a document going into full detail on how to build these tables. I know I'm saying this for the last 2-3 months. We are literally just waiting for our website. We've got some final touches where I will be posting this document for you to download, where we're going into detail on how to build these tables. You can literally download this document and start the epoxy company the next day.
So the good news is our website is officially done. It's live, and I am going to leave a link now down in the description where you can find this absolute monster of a document that I've been writing for the last 6 to 8 months, going into intense detail on how we build all our tables. You can literally download this document, read through it, study it, and you can start an epoxy table manufacturing company the next day. So link down in the description. Go and support us. Thanks guys. Hope you guys enjoy the final product, and I'll see you next week with another super cool video.
Welcome to this online epoxy masterclass. Moisture content. You hit right into the core wood species to remove the bark with an aggressive steel wire brush. Table design, slab preparation, building process, epoxy mold. Release agent wax, calculate epoxy. 7, 8, so we got 16 points. Mixing epoxy, color consistency. Whether to seal your live edges or not. Pouring epoxy. Sanding between layers, sanding grooves inside your epoxy. Dealing with bubbles. Maximum depth, curing time. Removing the table from your mold. Our local CNC supplier. Start sanding, cutting your table to size and edges. Filling the cracks and holes. Smoky finish, high gloss see-through finish. Wood surface finishing, tabletop supports. To drill into our wooden section. Our online epoxy masterclass is finally here. It's 4 hours of masterclass where I'm going into detail on how we build all our epoxy tables. Where I'm going to teach you from start to finish how to build a epoxy table successfully. I'm going to show you all our methods and techniques we take in our everyday business building epoxy tables successfully. Down in the description of this video, you're going to find the details on how to purchase this masterclass. You don't want to miss this one.